What is this? You need to reach 1,000 subscribers? Do you think you deserve the honor of having 1,000 subscribers, would-be hero?
Yeah, what makes you so freaking special that I should subscribe to your freaking channel, hero?
Yeah, he's right. I mean, come on. What have you done for me lately?
Seems kinda suspicious playing all these old games on a modern machine instead of playing some kind of modern game you ain't played before.
I suppose if you truly plan to help the people of Mordovia, I suppose we can take a moment to check out your channel and see what it's all about. Maybe then I'll decide, no? He seems like a nice enough fellow. Why, he even does little introductions on some of his newer videos, it seems. Fine, fine. Yes. So let's see this channel of yours. We need to know the URL of your channel, hero. Oh, I see. It is quite easy to remember. www.youtube.com at Let's Play Sierra Games.
The people of Mordovia gather around the mystical square that begins playing the channel of Let's Play Sierra Games. They are entertained. Well, I must say, that was much better than I had thought it would be. I do say I would highly recommend this channel to anyone I met.
Yes, a rather funny little channel. I would say anyone who is here should definitely like and give the hero a subscribe at the channel as well.
The channel's even kids safe. The hero doesn't even say bad words or anything. He even fights off the scary darkness like a good hero should.
Igor maybe not the one everyone think is smart, but even Igor know how to subscribe. Not doing so is a grave mistake. That's a little graveyard humor right there.
Even I think this channel is a thing of beauty, and there are few things I find as beautiful as me. And maybe, just maybe, this channel comes pretty close. So yes, you should subscribe, or feel the gypsy curse upon you.
Besides, the hero has made so many videos and spent so much time making all of these wonderful videos he shares with everyone. He does it to bring light to the dark world. Also, like all growing heroes, he can definitely use the reward offered by reaching 1,000 subscribers.
Alright, and we're back for the part 5 of the Quest for Glory 4 commentary version. If you've watched the other ones, this has kind of been spaced out way more than I intended. Between a lot of things happening, keeping me busy over the weekend, I've not been able to finish this. Usually I do commentary stuff over the weekend and just try to get them all done. Quest for Glory 4 was such a huge game. I think the original playthrough was over 16 hours, so I had to basically, YouTube would not let me upload it. So I ended up splicing it down into a couple of more digestible versions. And so usually with the commentary, what I like to do is usually make it roughly, I make the slice of the pie, if you will, roughly anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, because usually what I do if I'm not speaking during the video, what I'll do is I'll speed up the segment. I won't trim it out, but I'll just kind of speed it up. So usually like 2 hours or 3 hours usually reduces down to like an hour and a half, because I'm not usually blabbing through the entire video. So if you haven't already, there are 4 other parts to the commentary version that you can check out. If you're starting on the 5th part, maybe a little confusing, but maybe you're just looking for something specific, or maybe you just want to just watch it at random. I do have a playlist called Wanna Watch It All, and it has essentially all the videos I've done, and you can shuffle that and come up with this first in some random order. But alright, let's get back into the game here. Our hero has gone to the graveyard. He's gone into the crypt. Now this, we've learned, is a secret passage that will lead to the castle. We've learned that at one time, totally forgetting their names now, the people who used to live in the castle long ago used to use the crypt as a way of escaping. So if something happened to the castle, like if it was under attack, they had a secret passage that essentially led to this crypt and would allow them to escape anything that was coming. So the first thing we're going to run into is we have a puzzle on the floor, and trying to figure out how that puzzle works took me a little bit. And so what we're doing is we're basically spelling out the name Borgov, who, thank you for reminding me, game, are the people who used to live in the castle. And so if you kind of spell it out with the colors, you can kind of get an idea. So now we have keys that we can now use on the walls. And some of these walls, I've already done it in one of the previous ones where I kind of came down here a little earlier and touched some of them and says it broke and stuff like that. And this one over here had a lock. And now that we have the key, we can now go inside. So from here, I should also say, if this is the first one you're watching for whatever reason, when I replay these games, I don't use a walkthrough. Some of these games, like some of the earlier games, like Quest for Glory 1, I have pretty much memorized, but there's like Leisure Suit Larry series, most of it I have memorized. Most of the King's Quest I have memorized. Most of the Space Quest I have memorized. Quest for Glory 4 is one of those games I did not have memorized. So there's quite a few times where I make mistakes. And I usually pay for it by having to reload. So if you're watching this game going, how are you not knowing what you're doing? This is why. I'm literally not playing with a walkthrough. So what we're doing is we're just going through here and playing the game as if it were the first time I've played. So all of these games I've had in my collection, like Quest for Glory 4, I've played, I think, probably maybe about 4 times. But this is since it first came out. Like, I am that old guy that's had these games forever. And so I've played this one about 4 times. But like the other games, like the shorter, easier ones to power through, like, Quest for Glory 1, much easier. It's a much smaller area that you're kind of walking around. It's, you don't have all these, like 80 different screens that you can go through just for one section and then get to another area and have another 80 screens. So like, in Quest for Glory 4, you have the Mordavia area that literally probably has, I don't know how many screens, I'm just going to say 80. But once you get out of Mordavia, go into this crypt, this leads to this castle that has like another 40 screens. It's a huge game. It's a huge game and it's so well done. Like, replaying it, I've been reminded of how much I actually really, really, really love this game because it's so well done. And I'd forgotten, like, Quest for Glory 4 was such a big game that I often did not play it just to kill time. Like, sometimes I'll just play one of the Sierra games just to kill time, kill some boredom. And Quest for Glory 4 wasn't one of those games because it usually took quite a while. As you can see in this playthrough, the original playthrough, it took roughly about 16 hours. So definitely was so glad to replay this game. And that's part of the reason why I did this channel of Let's Play Sierra Games, is I wanted to basically start forcing myself to replay these games. Instead of just going through the ones that were easy for me, like Leisure Suit Larry 1, that game I can probably play with my eyes closed. Instead of just playing those simple ones, I wanted to get in here and play all of these games and just try to remember if they're all as great as I remember, or in this case, sometimes 1,000-fold better than what I remember. This game is so well done. But all right, enough of that. I've talked about not using a walkthrough. This is part 5 of 4 of the Quest for Glory 4. Let's get back to talking about the game. So we're making our way through the keep now, and it's very, very dangerous going through this keep because we know something or someone is in here. Oh, and look at this. Now I have something else to talk about. So every once in a while, you're going to see this little hand icon appear with the fast forward button. Clearly, if you've played Quest for Glory 4, you're like, I've never seen that before. And what that is that's from the aforementioned where the video was like 16 hours long, is I went through and sped up most of the fights. So whenever you see that hand cursor appear during the gameplay, that is for me basically fast forwarding fights. Whether I win or lose, it was a way to easily trim down something that wasn't too relevant to the game, so I could try to save space and bring the video below. I think YouTube's maximum is 11 hours. So that's what that is. So from time to time, you're going to see that little hand appear with that icon with the remote control. That was actually, I grabbed that from, I believe it was Leisure Suit Larry 6. It appears somewhere in Leisure Suit Larry 6. And so I grabbed that as just, oh, that's kind of a fun way to indicate when I am fast forwarding something. in the commentary version, when I fast forward the stuff, you won't see that hand. Well, you'll see it if it's already in the game like this, like right now. But when I fast forward segments where I'm not actually talking about the game, I don't put the fast forward thing in there. I just fast forward it, and you're just going to notice it. I'm essentially going back through all the rooms and making sure there's nothing hidden in the cabinets while wandering aimlessly and not mapping where I'm going. I'm just running around the castle at full speed here. And this is where we need to be. However, he shuts the door in our face. Monster doesn't seem to like you letting the light in the room. Maybe you'd have better luck at night. So now we know, well, we got to come back here at night. We can just basically try to rest and then let night pass. But it's literally like noon. That's going to be like a lot of resting. So what we can do is try to burn some stamina, which is already kind of at the halfway point. And we can try to rest. See what time we get after we can cast some spells and burn some more stamina. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make it nighttime at this point, just by staying right there. As you can see, time is barely ticking by, which is such a rare case. Like when you're trying to make something go by, doesn't it always seem like it goes the slowest? Alright, so now we can see that someone is sitting up. You sense something is very wrong here, but do not immediately dangerous. The creature does not seem to openly hostile, just very protective of the child. There's a feeling of coldness about the child that fills you with sorrow and a touch of fear. And he slams the door in my face again. But this time, she's awake, and we can see it's a young girl who looks very, very undead and very vampire-like. Now, if you recall, there was the creature at the inn, I forgot what he is called as well, who you could only see at like roughly midnight. He says that the young girl, there was a big creature that came and took her away, gave her a toy and took her away. And we now see this is probably the innkeeper's daughter. And you can see she definitely has like a sense of innocence about her. Like she's asking, do you live in the castle now too? So you can tell like she's not a normal resident of the castle. She seems to know that living in the castle at night is a thing that's perhaps not normal. Her interaction with Toby is awesome, by the way. And this confirms it when you tell her about the innkeeper. She says, I miss mommy and daddy, but I can never go home. Which again, I know I talked about it in the previous commentary versions. Quest for Glory 4 is a pretty dark game. There is a lot of sadness to it, but naturally, most of the time you can find a way to fix things. But there's like the woman in the lake, who the only way to truly save her is to let her go and to essentially perish. She accepts death instead of being undead. And then there is the old man in the town who lost his wife Anna, and you basically help them be reunited by allowing him to basically die and be reunited with Anna. So this game has some pretty dark tones to it. So there's the doll that we took from the inn that was in the cabinet, and we give it to her, and it's Vanya, the doll. She says, thank you. I thought she was lost because the mom was very suspicious of the doll and put it away and took it away from her. she talks about sometimes she wants to cry, but she can't anymore. She just feels sad. So it's assuming that apparently vampires do not have the ability to cry. Their body does not produce the moisture to create tears. And it's interesting, she says, if I ever went back to the inn, I'd be afraid of the dark. But here she is, she only comes out at night. She talks about how Toby says everyone's afraid of her now, and she doesn't want that. And the voice actress who does this young girl does a great job. She definitely sounds very creepy, for sure. So we learned that basically her mom spent all the time cleaning the inn, didn't really have time to play or sing with her, and then would make her go to bed when it was nighttime, and she was afraid of the dark. And she was afraid that the bad things would come get her. And that no one heard her when she cried. They wouldn't even let her have a candle because he was afraid it would bring the bad things. So this is essentially superstition taking over everything, the fear of what the unknown brings. And then here we see that Toby came to her window at night. He would hold her and talk to her and keep the bad things away, which is weird because she ended up turning into a vampire, which is kind of what the bad things are. So since Toby was the only thing that ever really took care of her, when her mom took her doll away, she decided to leave with Toby because Toby was the only one that was really taking care of her. And then she says she likes the night because Aunt Trina is there. But she still misses her mom. Aunt Trina would be none other than Katrina, who we have met. And so we see in the beginning that her dad used to be very happy and that her mom used to sing and then she could dance all the time at the inn, but something clearly changed. The rains came and people didn't want to come to the inn anymore. Dad said there were too many bad things and he wouldn't take me out walking. And then he said the bad things would try to get her. Nothing like instilling massive fear within your poor daughter. And then we see that Aunt Trina, Katrina, has basically said, hey, you can't go home anymore. Your mom and dad will think you're a bad thing and try to kill you. And that Toby says, this is her new home and he loves her very much. We learn that Toby says Aunt Trina is his master. It's good that she's there to translate what Toby is saying, since he just talks in So Tanya talks about how she has to stay in the castle and now she has to go to bed at daytime. Which is weird because now she's awake during the dark. But I guess Toby's there to keep her company. So Toby says he would do anything to make her happy, but he can't take her back to the inn now because people would hurt her, and Toby's concerned about that. That's a little humor there with that save game title. That sucks. You know, the situation sucks, but get it. She's a vampire. Sucks blood. Alright, well. These are the dad jokes you're going to get in the save game titles. Alright, so we're going to go back through, speeding through the castle. So now we know where she's at. We can probably make our way back. I don't know if we want to tell the innkeeper and his wife about their daughter's current situation, but we could probably try to see if there's a cure. Alright, so there's some books, and clearly there's going to be a hidden shelf thing. So we can see these have letters. And if you look closely, I'm too dumb at the time, clearly not using a hit book, but if you look closely, it actually spells the freaking word exit. Ta-da! You know, sometimes the most obvious thing is not the easiest thing to see. So we go down this passage, which is new. We're going to fight some bats. We're getting tired, so that means it must be close to midnight. So we hear voices on the other side of the door. We try to listen, but that wasn't a good idea. So a spoiler alert, what's alerting them is the squeaking of the door. And so we need to find something to basically make it less squeaky, and you actually get it at the shop. Now this part kind of bugged me, right? There's two guys down there where it says this really isn't a good idea to fight the two goons. And I get why they did it, so that you can't go down there and see or do something before you're supposed to. But as a person controlling my character, I had fought quite a few things, like the Wraith and stuff like that, a bunch of really tough monsters. And I thought two goons should be easy to do. They just look like two, orcs or whatever you want to call them. It should have been an easy fight. But it doesn't even give you the opportunity to fight them. You just die. And honestly, it should basically tell you if fighting is not an option. It should basically just tell you, hey, you know what, this isn't a good idea. You will die, or something, and essentially stop you from going there. It just basically says it's not a good idea. Doesn't really say you're gonna die. Like it's an end game kind of thing. You carefully put oil on the hinges to prevent it from squeaking. You carefully open the door so you can hear it better. And you'll see now we can actually listen to the conversation. So we did already have oil on our possession. I think I bought at least 2 or 3 of everything within the general store shop. And you can see the person there should be very familiar. So we learned that she has basically said our hero was already attracted to her. So we learn that our good buddy from a previous game, all the way back in Quest for Glory 2, is back. And he says, I will have my revenge. And then she asks, on whom? The hero or me? And he boldly admits both of you. So now we've learned that we are part of a scheme of Katrina, who looks like she stuck her finger in a socket there, as well as our good old villain friend from Quest for Glory 2. So I was thinking I would head through the crypt and go back out, but it appears that the door is locked. It says it won't budge. But shaking hands with the Grim Reaper opens the door. Never understood the significance of the lightning striking that grave and then the grave bleeding, because there's nothing to that grave. It would have been better if the lightning struck the grave of the murderous boyfriend of the girl that we meet in the lake. That would have been a nice clue as to which grave to investigate. Well, 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 look who's waiting right there by the shadows. She had said she would meet us here, so there she is. And she seems quite genuine in her concern for the hero, but we know the truth now. Clearly she's playing us because she definitely feels safe at night. At least here she freely admits that Borgov Castle has been her home for a while now. So she talks about her not wearing her scarf, which usually covers up her face and her other assets. So clearly she is pushing the boundary to make it so she is more appealing by showing more. Stating that we're very handsome. However, when you ask about magic, I'm not sure if it's because if you ask about magic or if you only have so many questions you can ask her. She says she has to be off now. And then she just disappears into a very dangerous forest. Instead of, you gotta wonder, because she says that the castle's her home, but right outside there's the undead Nektar things. So how is she getting in and out of the castle? So we learn that she bound the darkness with her last spell and shoved it back from whence it came, but it also took her as well. And by her, I mean Erana. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Erana? E-R-A-N-A? That's how I would pronounce it. Alright, so knowing that, I have to keep the old doors from squeaking. If I remember correctly, what I'm about to do is buy a bunch of oil, which in the end, we actually don't need. So we learned that Boris has come back to visit her, and they talked. Did a lot of talking, it seemed like old times again, so that's good. Okay, so this is the part. Eventually I'll come back here and I'll buy something like 99 things of oil, thinking that I'm going to have to sneak through a bunch of doors. And I just began oiling all the doors I came across. So now, not too sure where to go, so that's why I saved the game as where to next. I'm going to see what I need to do next, because talking to the innkeeper doesn't seem like the right thing, but maybe Dr. Cranium can provide some kind of cure for our young girl Tanya. And getting past these bells is ridiculous. So he's still working on his Frankenstein. says that it's starting to go along better. Some muscles are starting to move, and we see a hand. It's not often that ordinary people such as yourself have the opportunity to witness true genius. The best part of Dr. Cranium is how humble he is. So one of the options is to tell him about Tanya. And I hit enter too quickly. Oh, whoops, that was Tarna. That's not the young girl. I don't know if you can hear my Corgi barking in the background. Okay, so it looks like he doesn't have a cure for us. So let's go ahead and move on from there. Still need to figure out what to do. I would have assumed that he would have been the best person to talk to because he is working on that Frankenstein type thing. And I thought, oh, he would be the guy to, be able to find a way to reverse the undead thing. But we're probably going to have to resort to something a little bit darker. So our next step will probably be checking to see if Baba Yaga has anything to help us with this. And if she does, it's probably going to require doing something for her. The gypsies may also have something to be able to do with this, so they could also be a potential other person to ask as they deal with lycanthropy, or technically not werewolves, they just are able to change. Still not sure what the purpose of this guy is. Other than giving you that clue. But you can also get that clue pretty much from the from the gypsy as well. There's that eagle. So we'll try the gypsy camp first, see if they have any information or if she has a reading for us. Now, I'm not 100% certain what the reference to the yellow bird is. Still not figured that one out. Even now, after beating the game. So we know that the staff of Rana has great magic and it protects the town from the undead. So we learn it's protected by a destiny spell, and it's awaiting that someone would basically life for life. And that it'd be a sacrifice done through love. And so through her, you learn where the garden is. We've already been there because we planted the plant there. And she tells us about the the very small bush that I was just talking about. And she talks about the tree that's also there, that if you approach it, the fruit disappear. And she says only magic can get it, so it's probably like the fetch spell. Alright, so they have no information on how to reverse the vampirism? I guess that's a word. It is now. Now this is something else. If this is the first one you're watching, sometimes you'll see where it looks like it's on a screen for saving and the only option is to replace, and it looks like it's frozen. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm alt-tabbing. I'm moving all the save games into a different folder so that I can continue to save. So I have, like, you know, Quest for Glory 1, SG1, so all the save games from that first batch are there. When that fills up, I move them, I move the next batch into, Quest for Glory 4, batch 2, move those save games in there. So you're going to see it where it looks like it's not doing anything. This is what I'm actually doing, is I'm moving the save games into a different folder, then tabbing back, refreshing here, and you'll see that the list is renewed where I'll be able to save the game without replacing anything. So I cancel, and come back in, I'm going to hit save, and you're going to see that now none of the previous save games are there because they've been moved into their own different folder. So now we know about the Destiny spell and the staff, and let's see what we're going to do now. So you remember when I beat that Wraith? Oh, you wouldn't know if this is the first one you're watching, but in the Quest for Glory playthrough, I'd beat this Wraith, and normally I loot the place of their stone thing, whatever you want to call it. And for whatever reason, this Wraith was particularly hard. Like, he drains you non-stop as you're fighting him. And after beating him, I think I had 1 health left. and I basically saved and then rested, and I walked away. So by only by sheer chance of wandering around the map did I actually come across his stone again and go, oh, wait a minute, there is something I'm supposed to do here, and sure enough, that's where I find the sword, and as well as the note. So I save it as I could use it, but so we're going to tell him about the sword. That is the sword of my grandfather. I do not know how I can tell you, but someone, I'm sure of it, or somehow I'm sure of it. He was supposed to have deserted my grandmother. This means Piotr did not run off. He was killed instead, which is actually very true. You keep it. You certainly have earned it. I was so ashamed of my grandfather. Everyone in town called him a coward. Yet he really was a hero after all. So he's letting us keep the sword, which is good. That shield on the wall was also his. Go ahead and take it. There's no sense in leaving it hanging on the wall if you can use it. I could have given it to us earlier. So he talks about how he often dreamed about holding the sword. His grandmother had asked him to find it. So he hated his grandfather because he thought he had abandoned his grandmother. And he's happy to learn that his father was actually a hero and also a paladin. So we learn that the shield was given to him prior to his grandfather departing, and it's supposed to be magical, so he disappeared before marrying his grandmother. Everyone thought he abandoned her. The scandal was worse when she bore my father, so she was pregnant at the time of his departure. But the grandmother always knew that he had not abandoned her. She would often go to where the staff was, go out there and sleep, and wake up with a smile. She would say that his grandfather was with her, but no one ever believed her. So, kind of, once again, kind of a dark story. So it's interesting, he says thanks for returning the sword, but he also says you can have it. Alright, still trying to figure out what to do next. So we got sword and shield here. He's always so pleased. Many adventurers seem to get themselves killed between visits. I'm glad you haven't yet acquired that habit. We're essentially sleeping until it gets dark so that we can go to the castle. Alright, so we're back in the castle. We're going to see if the magical waters of Rana's Peace are of any use here. The save game said should have made a map, which I should have, instead of aimlessly getting lost and not remembering which door I can easily open, which one I can't. And so she says, "Hello, Ven is so happy to be back with us now," and that's the doll that we gave her. "He's our friend now, Toby. He's not a stranger." So we've earned her trust by returning the doll. Tell her about Rana's staff, how it can make Tanya back into a real little girl again. I like the staff. It always made me such pretty flowers in town, so it make me all better, and I won't be a bad thing anymore. So, you nod your head. Oh, Toby, I can see Mommy and Daddy again. So far, things are going well. That's my impression of Toby. Toby asks, what else will the staff do? He tried to explain about the sacrifice. Toby makes a sound. Toby says he understands. He says, you should take us to the staff now so I can be with Mommy and Daddy again. Again, story's about to get really dark. It feels weird here. Kind of happy and icky. I'm scared. Roar. And you can see Toby looks very sad. I know you'll protect me, Toby. But who will protect you? Again, Toby looking very, very sad. And she says, okay, Toby, I'll protect you. You cast the ritual of release. The sacrifice of life for love. Your love for the child is great. You see Toby silently nod his head. Will you trade your life to give life to the child? And for once, Toby's clearly understood it, says, uh-huh. Will you die willingly for the one you love? Uh-huh. No, Toby, no. So shall the sacrifice be done. And boom, down goes Toby. Again, so the sacrifice is complete. I am, again, the staff of Arana. The staff falls on the ground. I'm sorry, Toby, I didn't protect you too good, did I? So the girl is returned back to normal. At the sacrifice of the only thing that's really cared for her during very difficult times. You take the somber child in your arms and carry her to the inn. You awaken her parents and they are overwhelmed by the gratitude and joy. It's not long before you manage to escape the peace of your own room for what is left of the night. So now we have the staff, we've restored the girl, life seems good. Unfortunately, Toby had to make the ultimate sacrifice, which is kind of harsh. Again, man, this game has some pretty dark moments, but does it in such a great way. So the innkeeper's quite happy that he has his daughter again. And we can see his daughter down there in the lower corner. So we're going to ask her what she knows about our good friend Ad Avis. I didn't like him. He didn't like me. He didn't like Katrina either. They were always having fights, but he had to do what she told him to do. That made him very mad. So let's ask about Katrina. I like Trina. She was kind to me and gave me lots of nice things, and you could see like in her room it was full of toys. Still, I'll never go back to her. I want to stay with my mommy and daddy, so we freed her from Katrina. And now for the tear-jerking moment, we're going to ask about Toby. Toby was my best friend in all the world. I miss him. I wish he could come and live with us here. I'm happy to be home again. Everyone in town has come to see and talk to me. It's fun to be important. Kids, if you're watching this, this does not mean to go ahead and run away and disappear for a while and make everyone appreciate you. Don't do that. So we ask about her, and she's her joyful self again. The sound of a child's voice and the sweetest of music. We'll do our best to show her our love, and never let her be afraid of the dark again. I've always found it difficult to express emotion. Mordavia men are not supposed to show such things. Yet I cried freely when you brought Tanya back to us. I cannot remember ever being so happy. I don't know what to make of Tanya's stories about vampires. It's hard to imagine my lovely daughter as an undead. Gladly would I go to the castle, though, and drive a stake through the heart of the one who stole our daughter from us. Well, technically, I don't know if it was really her, or more so Toby, who went ahead and sacrificed himself for that, but, you know, there you go. You'd tell again how Toby sacrificed himself for Tanya. He may have looked like a monster, but he obviously had a heart and mind of great kindness. So now we're going to go ahead and sit down. I don't know how we can ever thank you enough. It is such a joy to have my little Tanya home again. And then she pops a pipe. It's interesting because when she's in the inn, you can see that she's clearly smoking either a pipe or a cigar. But when they do the close-ups to her, she's not. So the mom seems kind of basically denial that her daughter was any kind of vampire. Because she says she doesn't understand, it doesn't matter, she's healthy now, that's what's important. Which is true, that is what is important. And that she is only overjoyed to have her Tanya back. And so now the Burgermeister is saying we've brought great joy by bringing Tanya back to Mordavia. And then he says, "Thank you for returning my great-grandfather's sword. My family honor has at last been restored." So things are all falling into place for the folks of Mordavia, where everything seemed so hopeless before. Now things are getting back to a more positive note. And she says, hey, people have been talking, says that you returned the little girl. Quite the hero, I know. It's interesting that he says that his family honor has been restored, but when you come back to her, that has not been updated for her. It'd been cool after he says, "You've restored my family honor," that if you come back to her, she says something like, "Oh, I knew he was great all along. I don't know why all those people said the things they did. You've restored his honor, shown that his grandfather was actually a great hero." Something like that. That would have been cool to see. So here's where previously I talked about I bought a bunch of oils because I was basically going to oil every door that I had to walk through so I wouldn't have to worry about it squeaking and I could listen. Just as an FYI, it's actually not needed. I think the only time you actually need the oil is at that time where it already passed, where you can eavesdrop at Avis and Katrina speaking. But I probably went and bought a lot of oil. So clearly with all the doors that I walk through, again, clearly I'm not using a walkthrough, or else I would have known that I don't need to buy like a cajillion things of oil. But hey, the hero has money. He's donating to the general store. Before she was talking about how rough it was running the store. Well, now she should be set because I just dropped a lot of money on buying oil that is ultimately not needed. So we have 4 of the sacrifice things. There should be 5 if I remember correctly, so I think we are missing 1 still. And I believe when we were talking to Baba Yaga, one of the options was getting that 5th one. So let's go visit Baba Yaga after fighting a bunny, and let's go see if Baba Yaga has what we need, and see if there's anything we can do to basically get it from her. So we go over there, say the magic words. And let's go pay a visit to our dear friend, Baba Yaga. So this time we don't need to do any corn or anything like that. The hut just lowers itself. So now she appears and glues our feet to the ground. So we were warned. Food is her one true weakness from the gypsies, and she says, "You better have brought something to eat." So the goo actually proved to be what we could use. And now we can ask for the Dark One ritual. She found it hidden in the hangman tree some years ago. You're asking for trouble, I hope you know. Using that ritual for any purpose will only bring you grief. So it has two purposes. You bring the Dark One into the world, or you can send the Dark One back to its world. You don't qualify as a very powerful wizard, as she sees it, so it looks like option 1 is bringing the Dark One in. But she says if you want it, you got it. You put the ritual away in your pack. Hero near, out of here. And she teleports us out. Nice of you to drop in. So now we have the 5th and final ritual. We're reaching the end of the game, but looking at the video, we're just halfway through the commentary version of this one. But like I said, where I'm not speaking, it'll be sped up, so don't worry. And speaking of sped up, let's speed up some travel here. And that's another thing you'll see in my other videos, in all of my Quest for Glory videos, but you'll see it in this one too, where I'll pick up a bunch of rocks and I'll just start throwing them at a rock. And the reason I do that is twofold. A, it builds up stats. It builds up both like strength and throwing, but it also chews up the stamina so that it becomes easier to do resting, to let time pass by. But it's mostly for building up skill. And it looks like it's actually agility, not strength, that it builds up, which is weird, because you'd think it'd take strength to throw rocks. I thought that was kind of lame, that if you climb the gate, they kill you, but you can force the gate open and you can fight. So this time we're going to the front of the gate. Instead of going the secret way, we're going to see what this does, just to see if it's different. Not sure what the significance is of that ghost passing through us. It did it before too, but I'm not sure. Other than it saying it's a cold feeling, I don't know if it actually does anything. Might just be for the ambiance of making it creepy. I don't know. So those two goons are still down there, so there's still something that we have to do to get past the two goons. It'd be great if you can just throw oil on the floor, basically make them come up, or like light oil and throw it at them, something. Again, not a big fan that you can't fight two goons standing there. It should at least be an option to fight them. Even if it's totally going to be hopeless, like they have a metric ton of health or whatever, and they hit like trucks. So now that we have all the rituals and we've done all the things, he actually had a different message about releasing the darkness and banishing it. And so we're going to go ahead and sleep here and see if we get a different vision. Definitely a different vision. You feel her die as she tries to shove the darkness away. The darkness is trapped in the world between worlds. So is Arana. I said it before in the other playthroughs, but definitely sleep here to get visions. Because it's worth it. You get little more story pieces as to what is happening. Because can you imagine if you slept only at the inn and you missed every opportunity to sleep here? Like if you came here at night, the inn was closed, you climb back over the fence and you just go to Arana's Peace. I don't know if you get these dreams at Arana's Peace, but I don't think you do. I think it has to be here at the staff. If it happens at Arana's Peace, I'm actually not certain, but that would actually make sense if it did. That way, it's kind of ensuring that you're getting these clues through the vision if you're not sleeping at the inn. And so we learn that she's, well, talking about Tanya, no one ever steal her from us. No one will ever steal her from us again. And now there's an option to talk about the Dark One. We do not speak of the Dark One, for that way lies madness and despair. That is pretty cool, that while Tanya was away from us, she learned to read and write. Now she's teaching me to read, and I've always wanted to learn how to read. And then together, we will teach other women in the town how to read and write. Why would a woman want to read and write? That is like teaching a horse to dance. Yuri, you and I will have a talk later. Tonight, in fact. So she says she doesn't know much about the Dark One, only that it's really bad luck to talk about it. And it's supposed to have something to do with the old monastery and the dark cult that worshipped it. And it had something to do with Rana's death. She's like, I don't know much about it, but here's a metric ton of information that is very useful for you to know. We go in the room, see if there's any notes being left on the chest about meeting Katrina. Doesn't look like there is, so let's head back. I will say this though, at the end of the game, I don't know if it glitched a few times, but there's a few times where in the fight with Adavis, I'm pretty sure I did it right, and it still gave me the bad ending. So you'll see the bad ending probably like something like 10 times. Because there's a few times I wasn't sure what to do, so I deserve the bad ending. I got what was coming to me. There's a few times where I'm pretty sure I got it right, and there's even one time where you'll see the staff kind of float and suddenly appear and disappear, and clearly look like it glitched, probably like a timing bug issue, but I eventually do beat it. It just took quite a few times. When we get there, you'll see it. But in the meantime, let's fight this crazy rabbit that is just jumping over my sword attacks with incredible accuracy with my flaming sword. Even save the save game as that rabbit jumped a lot. So now there's a note. So we ask about the Dark One. I have not spoken to that before. They were worshipped in a monastery. The followers were blah 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 blah. That is all I know. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we've done everything we can do with the monastery. So we're going to try something. So we're going to look at our honors, 307. He's going to warn us, don't go in there, it's a bad place, he'll be very sorry. He doesn't know that we've been in there a bunch of times. Stop worrying about us. We've got a plan. And it's a plan that I sort of did earlier in one of my previous episodes of Quest for Glory 4. This is before I rescued the creature inside here. I accidentally, well, not accidentally, I lit the place on fire. And now we've just gained the Paladin's Honor Shield. The flame quickly begins to sweep, because before, when I did it, before we rescued the guy in here, I think we lost the ability to... We lost something, I thought. I thought there was something where it said something happened. But now that we've rescued the thing and we've burned it... If Igor Big Hero Job, can he be Pyromaniac too? So he's cracking at us for burning the place. But it's a place of evil, so it should be burned and cleansed. So clearly, since we got a bonus out of that, we should definitely save. So it's turned into a raging inferno. Just want to make sure that the book burns, so we went downstairs and then catch that book on fire. Still get the shield, but you can see everything else slowly catching fire. So that seems way more gratifying, actually seeing that dark book burn rather than just burning the top floor. Because what if the top floor burns and the second floor doesn't? Or the basement, I should say, not the second floor. Oh, the strangest thing happened. Someone broke into the old monastery and burned the place down. I don't suppose you know anything about this. So it's no loss to the town, and it actually is a vast improvement. And actually, if you wanted to see who burned it down, you could just ask Igor. He was literally a witness to the crime. So he says it's burned down. Let's go back and take a look. Is it actually... looks like it's got some fire damage on it, but it actually didn't burn down. It would have been kind of cool if you stepped away from the screen and came back and it was just remnants of it. Like that creature that's still on the door is still there, so it'd been cool if he was gone, for example. So the gypsy says that in her dreams she heard the staff speak. So the sacrifice had been made. The dead had risen, and the living had died. And when she awoke, she was afraid that it was me who made the sacrifice. So she talks about how she sent David to go find out if it was me who made the sacrifice, but he had sent me and a young girl going to the inn. And she says usually they don't concern themselves with outsiders, but clearly that we are very important. And so we tell her about Tanya, Toby, and the staff. So now she knows that the child and Toby made the sacrifice for her and that the staff is now in our possession. With this, you've undoubtedly angered someone very, very powerful. I'd be careful traveling at night if I were you. Well, unless it's two thugs standing at the bottom of the stairs, we're pretty good off, apparently. A way to kill a vampire is to shove a wooden stake through the heart. So we have the staff, we've saved the child. Most of Mordavia's problems seem to have been solved. We've restored honor for the Burgermeister. We've reunited the general store with the guy at the castle. We've done a lot of stuff. And we've helped Igor from his apparent death. So there isn't too much. Oh, and we reunited, what's his name, with Anna. So there isn't much left to do in the town, so definitely creeping towards the end of the game. And so we're going to pay her for another vision and see what the cards reveal. The cards reveal what might be, and she only interprets what the cards mean. It is up to us to determine how what she reads pertains to us. So here we see that it seems our mystery woman, Katrina, is falling in love with someone, which would be our hero. It was not her intended plan, just a consequence of it. So despite the fact that when she's talking to Ad Avis, you kind of learn that it was more bravado, where she's like, you know, I want him to come on his own free will. I don't need him to be a puppet, or else I would have made you a puppet, whatever. So you can tell she's actually got affection for us. And there's a scene a little bit later where she has you, and you have an option to tell her something, and I think I passed on telling her this. I ended up going a different option, so I don't know, had I told her this other thing, if something else would happen, but we'll talk about it when we get there. So she mentions the Dark One and said, "Hey, the reading's over. That's all. That's all we can do." Sorry about that scrape. My hand hit the mic. So be wary. Your enemies may soon act against you. So our honor was 307. Pretty sure burning the place down brought it up to 320. And as we wander through the map, we're just going to fast forward through it. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that you can't throw rocks at the lake and talk about how you're skimming rocks across the lake. Seems like a missed opportunity, truly it does. After you've resolved the issue with the Rusalka, the woman in the lake. Be kind of rude to skip rocks while she's still in there, but after she's gone, you should be able to skip rocks in that lake. Swamp. Lake swamp. Yep, and as we see the trick of the note, it is actually Adavis who is waiting for us. Somehow he's returned. You think back how Adavis once brought you under his control and you realize that you must avoid looking at his eyes. How nice of you to come. I'm afraid I accidentally signed the wrong name on your note. It's been ages since we last met. Come here, let me look at you. Ha! You have no power against one such as I. Let's play a little game of fox and hound, shall we? And zappity zap. I have summoned the hounds of death. Now we shall see whether you've kept up with your running lessons. And if you don't run, they kill you instantly, which once again is kind of lame because, as we see, when the hero forced the gate open, he took two of those things on back to back, and what happens is you are caught. You fool, did you really believe you could get away? I have you now, and you will pay for my death. It is you that caused me to become a vampire. If you had not killed me, I would never be forced to serve the Dark Master again. You probably blame me for all the problems around here, don't you? You understand nothing. The Dark Master is the cause of it all. The woe that is here. The Dark Master brought you here against my better judgment. The Dark Master made me what I am now, a Nosferatu, and seeks to do the same to you. But I shall spare you that fate. I will be mercifully end your miserable existence. Then the Dark Master and I will call forth eternal darkness, and we will no longer be limited to travel at night. Yay! Together, my master and I will create a new army of undead, and we will conquer the world. Pity you won't be there to witness it. You cannot stop us now. You will never find your way out of this dungeon, and only a stake through the heart, or more magic than you will ever have, can stop us. You will die knowing that you were destroyed by the Dark Master. The sun now rises. I must go to my rest. You too shall rest. I will not allow you the chance to escape your fate, or use that stake and hammer I torment you with here. Weapons of my destruction, close at hand, and yet so far. You know, it's good that he gives you all the ways to defeat him. Sleep now, great hero. tomorrow you die. Zip, zip. You find yourself falling asleep. And then he just goes away. You wake from what you thought was a nightmare, only to discover it was only too real. You sense a vague impressions of an ancient pain and horror in this place. There's also the sense of something dark and very much alive near you, hungering for you. So now we need to get out of this mess that we're currently in. Well, that was much easier than I thought. With some effort, we were able to break the rusty chains. You pick up the heavy hammer and store it in your backpack. Take the wooden stake and claim it in your backpack. So it was nice of him to leave the tools behind, but you think it's for him that those were there. Well, he's clearly talked about the Dark Master and how she's the one who did this, so he's banking on the fact that you're going to go ahead and kill Katrina, which is one of the options I actually end up doing. But I think I end up restoring shortly after because things go very south after that. But, little spoiler alert, I guess. We're going to find our way there. So by stepping inside the Iron Maiden, we can see that it is like the only thing that's clean, and when we go inside, it actually leads to a lady's richly decorated bedroom. You sense a deadly danger here, in your body and your soul. So I upped the cycles because I believe there was something weird going on with the sound. And on the other side of the door is the two goons. So now we know with the two goons, when we're on the other side of the stairs where I kept saying we should be able to fight them, it leads here. So we go back downstairs. There's something deadly here. So the mirror is broken. So it's Katrina, and we're going to save first. Where I saved, it seems like the right thing to do, but... Take a deep breath, you place the stake over the vampire's black heart and pound it in with a mighty blow of the hammer. You stare at the lifeless corpse in the coffin. You never thought that killing a vampire would were near this easy. Well, clearly they've not played King's Quest II. Same thing. But look who shows up, Ad-Avis, at last time free of her dominion over me. You did precisely what I wanted you to destroy Katrina. So nice of you to cooperate with me. And zappity zap. So as you can see, things go very south should you kill Katrina and follow the basically very, very obvious clue that Ad-Avis left in front of you of stake through the heart, whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and try to kiss her. Suddenly you find yourself totally unable to move. trying to kill me, will you? How dare you break into my home, steal away my child, kill my servant, Toby, and then return to kill me after I befriended you and helped you. Some hero you are. So I wonder, because, you know, she looks very dark and sinister here, I wonder if we did not take the hammer and stake, if this would happen, or if there's a different route now that I think about it. Alright, if anyone knows, if you've gotten this far into the comments, if you go down and basically talk to / kiss Katrina in her coffin and do not have the stake and hammer, does the same thing happen? So you ask about Ad Avis, and she came to him quite some time ago. And he came seeking the Dark Master. He was appalled that it was a woman. So, you know, he's a chauvinistic pig on top of all the other crap. But she talks that she had bitten him and basically turned him into a vampire under her command. He has served me since the night you defeated him. He hates me, and waiting for the opportunity to drive a stake through my heart. But he cannot harm me unless I harm him first, part of the vampire rule. So why did you attempt to destroy me instead of your old enemy Ad Avis? Did you fear me that much? Yeah, see, your enemy has a weapon and you can't do anything to stop them from killing you. So I'm curious if you approach her without the hammer and stake, if something different happens. So if you know, definitely let me know in the comments, because that is actually pretty cool if they do something different here, if you don't have it. And it might not matter. It could be that if you don't take the hammer and stake and go down there and talk to her, she awakens and just upset that you've taken Tanya, you've killed Toby, and she thinks you're there to finish her off without the hammer and stake. And so you find out that she's one who opened the Darkwind Cave and basically summoned you here. She tried to make you think she was a real woman, wanted to be a friend, wanted your help, that's why you're here. Now I only need you to know I want you. You will help me no matter what. You will do what I want. What were you trying to prove by opening my coffin? So again, maybe it doesn't matter. So you can tell her about Ad Avis, you can plead for mercy, you can defend your actions, you can tell her about the child. So you tell her about Ad Avis, and he sets you up, and she says, yeah, that sounds like him. But it wasn't Ad Avis who stole Tanya from me. You broke into my home and took my child away. Why should I show you mercy? See, there's the option right there. Tell her that you love her. And I basically tried to explain why we were in the room. Trying to find an exit from the dungeon. Couldn't you just pass up the chance to look in my helpless vampire coffin, could you? But I've decided I still have a use for you alive. If you help me, you may still manage to leave Mordavia without my mark upon you. I want you to seek out the 5 missing Darkwind rituals and return to the castle with them. Hey, already got them. Together we will summon the Darkwind and bring eternal night to this land so that she can just walk and not worry about daylight. You will help me, won't you? Or must I take more drastic measures in ensuring your obedience? Agree to help. So she's cast a spell on us to make sure that we do what she asks of us. So two things. I wonder if you don't go at her with the stake and hammer, if this still goes this route. Makes sense it would, because you've opened her coffin instead of just trying to find an exit. She has reason not to trust you because you took the child and was the cause of Toby's death. Even though it technically wasn't her child, but you know, whatever. And then had I said I love you, I wonder if the dialogue would have been different had I chosen that path. Would she be more merciful? Would she be more trusting? Or would this all still happen the way it is happening? She'd probably say something, if you loved me, why were you opening up my coffin? And it probably wouldn't have mattered. So we have the 5 rituals. We leave, turn back around, and the gate is wide open. So it's funny because the gate is open, but it says that, you know, it's closed and that there's the Nektars waiting on the other side, but they're not. So from there you can see you're being watched by Adavis and undoubtedly Katrina. Alright, so we're headed for the end. So we're going to go to the Dark One's cave, complete the 5 rituals, which also, by the way, some of them are painfully easy, some of them not so easy. Alright, so she says, that's all I can do for you. You have to complete the 5 rituals yourself. And Adavis says, we'll be watching you. Don't even try to betray us. And despite all that, she says, please be careful. And Adavis says, we'd hate for anything unpleasant to happen to you. Ha ha ha. Alright, so now we're inside. There's going to be a couple things we're going to probably have to do. I'm going to save because death is probably all around. So we'll grappling hook our way down, even though that's kind of where I put it and said it wasn't a good place. I actioned it further to the left. That's where we're going to climb down anyway. And that horrible monster makes itself known. And we're in for a fight. defeat that monster. We're ready to move on. When you pick up the book, it is the last diary of the, it's the diary of the last boyar. It seems that the one thing at the pit was the last, so something in the pit got him. On the last page, the Ritual of Essence. Now you have all the rituals and the summoning of the Dark One can begin. The book crumbles into dust in your hands the moment after you memorize the final ritual. And I have to say, one of the things I really like is the lantern effect, the light that's flashing, and the fact that they redrew, everywhere he goes, they're redrawing that light on that thing in the background. So that is actually really cool. I know they did it in King's Quest IV, which is where I first remember it. And I just think it's a cool little aspect that it is actually, you know, for lack of a better quote-unquote, as primitive, I guess you can say, you know, because, you know, this isn't done with like a Unity engine or anything like that, where they probably have scripts to do that type of stuff. It's really cool that they took that kind of time and detail to draw this stuff out. So as you're walking in front of something, the lantern actually reflects the light on it, and the color of that item changes in the background. So you can see the rock goes from that brown color to that like orangish color as he's passing through. It's really, really cool. And so we are back here with the orifices, and it's very obvious which orifice to go into, because it's the one it's the twitchy orifice, for lack of a better word. So this should look very familiar. It's literally where we started in Quest for Glory 4. So we got both torches lit up now. Alright, so it talks about these are the torch holders, and there's an altar that provides light to the Nameless One. So put the Dark One sign against the top of the altar. Sand swirls and shifts in the form of a mirror image. The Dark One sign dissolves into sand, its purpose fulfilled at last. Alright, well, I was kind of expecting something more to happen, but it looks like nothing here is happening. Let's try one of the rituals. This seems like it would be the right place to read the bone ritual. clicking on the skull, that's where it goes. The words are visible at last, and you begin to perform the ritual. So you stand among the massive bones, let your skeleton once more be filled with your presence. The rocks of the cave creak and groan around you as if forced to bear some massive weight. Alright, so the bones have formed a cage and trapped us within. But we are able to break free from the cage. So I wasn't sure when I played if breaking the cage was the right thing to do, but we can see Sphincter number 2 is now ready for penetration. This one. This one when we get the flames and fire and lava flowing. Whew. I think I died like 3 or 4 times trying to figure out the right way to go from here. So once again, you unroll the scroll containing the blood ritual. And then you begin to perform the dark ritual. Alright, so the corrosive acid, sorry, it's not blood and lava. I just remember getting burned a few times. So we've grappling hooked to one place, and then can't seem to find another place to go from there. And so there's like Death 1. So you push this down, which then clogs the thing. Now you should be able to pass through there. Okay, that seems so ridiculous that it had to be one specific spot you had to click in order for him to climb down. Because originally he just climbs up. It's very difficult to tell, but it kind of looks like it's actually the ledge is like ahead of you / behind you, not above below you. So we've done the second one and we've clogged the drain. So the first one we broke the bone, second one we clogged the drain. Now we see the third sphincter is ready to be examined. This one is the one I think that took me forever. This is the wind one. Although it is also probably the funniest one, because it actually blows the hero into the screen a few times. So it's kind of funny. I do like that once you have all the rituals, they're all in order down below. You don't have to kind of look at each one. It's literally the next one that's on the left is actually the next one you have to use. So the rituals sheets are in order. So it's very difficult to see. I kind of wish like when you walked forward to this trumpet thing that they did a close-up so you can kind of see it, because it looks like I blew on the other thing. The other tentacle areas don't even look like they come out, but they actually do. So there's a couple of extra tentacles that you can actually blow on, and I blew on the most obvious one that I see up there, which didn't do anything. So I do wish that they had a zoom up of this quote unquote, actually I guess for lack of a better word, this organ, which may literally be an organ since there's all these sphincters in here, so that you can tell if you're how many options you have to blow on something, and the zoom up of what you're blowing on. All right, anyway, that said, so you can see that was very painful to do, and now our hero's being smashed into the screen while being sucked in and out of the orifice. And so every time you try to walk by, the same thing happens. And you can see a few plants, just like what he just grabbed there, that will allow you to move. You just have to time it correctly and grab the right one. Alright, so we go into this orifice and it's pitch black. So literally just blind clicking everywhere to see where he walks. Alright, so now we begin the sense altar ritual. We can see our hero losing health as he's walking through there. So now we're on the last ritual. You unroll the scroll containing the heart ritual. The words are visible at last, and you begin to perform the ritual. Let your heart pulsate again with the power of life. You feel a heavy throbbing sensation from your own heart, as if some force is trying to rip it free from your chest. The pressure on your chest relaxes as the stone heart begins to pulse and throb with unearthly energy. As you complete the ritual, the scroll turns to dust in your hands. The rumbling noise grows louder as a passage opening appears in the ceiling above the heart altar. And then, welcome to the sheer chaos of the endgame. Very good, you have succeeded, where others have failed. Begin the final ritual. Soon the darkness will return to this land, and I will never lie helpless in my coffin again. So she's pretty bitter about being helpless in her coffin. Summon Avuzul and free the shadows of darkness. Enough talk. Let's get this over with. I do believe you are jealous. Is that because your hero stopped you from summoning Iblis long ago? You resent the fact that I triumphed while you failed, don't you? I only wish to begin your moment of triumph, my dear Dark Master. Very well, let the ritual begin. You begin to recite the final ritual. A cold chill fills you, and you feel as if your blood was being sucked from your veins. Still, you continue. You feel as if your feet were slowly and painfully dissolving into the floor as if by acid. Somehow you continue the essence ritual. Your arms feel as if they were frozen, locked forever, holding the paper. You continue to speak because you have no other choice. Your head aches, and it is getting incredibly difficult to concentrate. You can barely intone the last words of the ritual. The spell is complete. Avuzul awakens. Darkness will fill the land, and we will never flee the sunshine again. And then blam! He tries to get rid of the hero on his own. And so now they're fighting. So she has just broken the bond by attacking him. So now he's going to try to use his moment of triumph, and now he's able to attack her. And so while they're going back and forth, there's nothing yet you can do. I am still a greater master of magic than you. I am far more powerful vampire than you. Do you really think your spells can harm me? Guess again. But my dear Katrina, I do not need to cast spells at you to destroy you. I intend only to destroy my enemy, and the one you seem fond of. Care to watch him die? No, I will not let him die. So she comes over here, gets grabbed. The fool, I knew that of Uzul. The first part of my vengeance is complete. Now enjoy. The tendrils are clutching so desperately. Still, there is fire burning inside of you. So this is fast forward because of how many times it takes to win this fight. It is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure I'm doing the right thing almost every time. I've got the staff. Go ahead. Throw it. Zap. I'm dead. And the dark ending. Raw. So we're going to restore. We're going to fast forward. Blah, 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 blah. Zap. Now I won't let him die. Zap, zap, zap. Guess again. Zap. Oh, I plan on destroying him. Watch him die. Ah! Alright, zap. Grab the staff. Go ahead. Throw it. So I click. Tell ultimate joke. You tell the ultimate joke at the wizard. You think to delay me? Despite his protests, he begins to laugh. And so I should have time, but no. Zap. He kills me again. So I think there's a bug issue with the ultimate joke being told. It should buy me time. Adavis should be laughing, from what I understand. But apparently that is not the case. So we're going to save at the fight. Zap. No, how dare you. So I've already lost twice, right? And so we see her get grabbed. Zap. Alright, get up there. Tell ultimate joke. Despite his protests, he's laughing. So I got the staff. Zap! So now I've died 3 times. So he doesn't laugh very long at the ultimate joke. So rah! So 3 times I've lost. Alright, blah 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 blah. Zap! Alright, got the staff in hand. Tell the ultimate joke. He laughs. See, I hit him with the staff that time, but he still hits me first. So now I've lost 4 times. So the staff clearly was on him. Alright, so 4 times I've lost. Zap, pow, 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 zap. So ridiculous. Tell the ultimate joke. So he laughs. Get the staff. Oh, zap. Got me again. 5 times. I'm dead. Alright, so I climb up. You go ahead and grab the staff first. We're going to tell the ultimate joke. So you see I click the staff. Wham! It hits him. So he seems to die. And the staff floats up to me. Things are going good. And then he's there again. So it's supposed to be the staff, but I think there's a bug because suddenly the staff, it's a staff again. So he killed me 5 times, even though I was pretty sure I was doing it right with the ultimate joke and then throwing the staff. So we click the staff in there. You walk in the honor of righteousness. The day you have freed the land of Mordavia from great evil, may you always hold high the way of the paladin. And so at long last we see Arana, who kind of looks like a fairy / elf. You have freed me from my imprisonment by the Dark One. I have driven Avuzel back to his own dimension forever. It seems we shared a dream once. You gave me hope while I was trapped in the darkness. You held me in your arms and showed me your love. I'd like to point out this hero has loved quite a few people through his journey. I do think he was almost married in Quest for Glory 3. Let's see. Hold you down. Nor can we kiss. I am only a spirit. I thank you for everything you have done. I shall love you forever. Farewell. And so the people of Mordavia gather back at the Borgov castle. 2 weeks pass from the final encounter in the Dark One's cave. Your friends and acquaintances of Mordavia hold a party in your honor at Castle Borgov. So, even as we speak, the swamp is drying up. Soon the pass will open, and we may trade with the outside world again. We farmers can again sell our produce to others. We will export garlic to all parts of the world. He's got big dreams. We can even import an elephant or two just for old time's sake. He was one of my favorite NPCs. The king has sent word that I shall be the new appointed boyar. Castle Borgov will again protect and guard Mordavia. He could not have chosen a worthier person for the role. It's my impression of his slow talk. We have gathered here to thank this hero. He has driven away the shadows of darkness from this land. Mordavia will again be peaceful, beautiful land of our forefathers. The people fill the room with their cheers. He returned Tanya to us. For that, we will be forever grateful. He proved that dreams can be real if you work to make them so. He brought me back to my mommy and daddy, and they weren't even mad at me. Aww. Too bad Toby had to die. Everyone again gives a cheer of happiness. Igor be engraved if not for hero friend. Instead of redhead, Igor be deadhead. Ha ha ha. Little graveyard humor there. I would have been burned at the stake only because I am a gypsy. This hero had not befriended me. That's because some people whose names we won't mention, but you know who you are, spread nasty rumors that gypsies were werewolves. How foolish to believe such things. It's her. There are many here who owe their lives and happiness to this hero. In a land with a history of great heroes like Piotr and Irana, he is one of the greatest. Again, the hall is filled with cheers. You suddenly hear a familiar pair of voices. There, that's it. I believe the crystal ball is finally working. Do you see anything, Fenris? I see him. He's with a bunch of people. It's either a reward ceremony or a lynch mob. What? Let me see. It's a ceremony, of course. He's probably done some great deed as usual. So now what? Well, seeing that his adventure in Mordavia is obviously over, we can bring him here to Samaria, of course. Suppose he doesn't want to come here. Ah, you forget. He's a hero. Samaria needs a hero right now, and everyone knows a hero has to go where a hero has to go. I need a hero. Let's hope he knows that. Just make sure you use the right spell to teleport him. The last time you tried this, you brought the clothes and left the person behind. This time, for sure. So there we go. Let's see our character sheet. We didn't max out everything. Try to usually max everything out, but you can see like dodge is not at 400 and vitality is not at 400. But we did good. Congratulations, you have successfully completed Quest for Glory Shadows of Darkness with the maximum possible score. We welcome you to the ranks of the few, the proud, the true heroes. If you have not already done so, we encourage you to play Shadows of Darkness again with other character types. Many of the puzzles are different or have alternative solutions. In the meantime, you are already a winner. Please insert a writable disk to your floppy drive to save your winning hero for use in later Quest for Glory games. Disk right. So just make sure it's whatever drive you have mounted, and it should allow you to save the drive if you're using DOSBox. The save character file has been created. Save the disk for use for later Quest for Glory games from Sierra Online. Thank you for playing Quest for Glory, Shadows of Darkness, and congratulations again on winning. We hope to see you again in a future Quest for Glory. And then we're going to roll through the credits. So that said, I did crack open Quest for Glory 5, and it is very different. It's literally like a 3D game. If you've played like Mask of Eternity, or there's another game, it's from a company called Surtech called Druid Daemons of the Mind. It's very similar to that style. It's very, very different than the other Quest for Glory games or any other really Sierra game. It ventures into the 3D realm. Played a little bit of it. Did not even get very far. I am not kidding. There's like a couple of guys who ambush you at the very beginning. I didn't even get past that before I said, you know what? I'm just going to save this for later. I've played Quest for Glory 1 through 4, and literally everything after Quest for Glory 1 was a pretty big game. This one took, the commentary for Quest for Glory 4 took me 2 months to finish due to time constraints and plans happening on the weekend. And there was a couple of weeks where here in San Diego there was massive heat during the summer. And summer in San Diego is technically kind of almost all the time. So I say summer because it always feels like summer. But my room where I do all my recording and stuff, it is the sun literally hits the window and bakes this whole room and makes it almost impossible to sit in this room when there's a lot of heat. Like if I put a fan in here, then you're hearing this loud fan in the background. So I have even now, it's only 1:40 p.m. I have a very small fan basically blowing at my feet to keep me cool, because it's not, yesterday there was a heat wave, today there isn't, but it is still very warm in this room. And I try to keep the door shut so I'm not bothering my wife in the other room and stuff like that, although I think she's probably still sleeping, even though it's almost 1:40. But if you have not already, I would love if you would give a like and subscribe to the video. And as well, if you enjoyed any of these videos, someone just today when I was looking at the comments said, how have we not reached 1,000 subscribers on your channel? And I said, I don't know, it's progressing definitely, because I remember when it hit 500 I was astounded, and now I think I'm a hair over 700. I think I'm at 704. So if you enjoy this channel, definitely help promote it, post it on Facebook and stuff like that, so that others are aware of it. Tell them to come by and check out the videos, and if they like it, give a like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. The next game I'm probably going to play is probably Gold Rush. I've already loaded it up, and I remember loving Gold Rush, so I think that's what's next. We'll see how that goes, because Gold Rush is kind of brutal as well. There are times that you can just randomly die, not even doing anything wrong, you just die of an illness. So Gold Rush is next, probably, so give a like and subscribe, check it out, and click all the notifications. Love you guys and gals. Bye.